What's up, y'all? Welcome to Faucette Media. Fellas, this is a perfect example of what a woman will do if she really is actually into you. You know, a lot of times I think we miss the point when we require effort. A lot of people haven't experienced this type of desire, but when a woman is fixated on what she wants in particular, these are the extents that she'll go to. Expect nothing less.
So I was dating this guy in Switzerland, and it was a crazy schedule because I was flying 10 hours direct from Miami to Zurich and then spending an hour and 45 minutes in the car after he would pick me up from the airport to go to his hometown to spend the weekend. Like, I would take Friday off of work, but I would leave on a Thursday, arrive on Friday, be there Saturday, and then Sunday be right back at Zurich airport, flying back to Miami because I would have to work on Monday. And it's wild because we were dating for a while, right? This wasn't some kind of fly-by-night thing. So I'm constantly, like, there were some months I would go to Switzerland 2, maybe 3 times on the weekend in the same month. It was just this crazy schedule. So Thanksgiving was coming up and I would have, like a week off of work. So we planned for me to come to Switzerland because he would come to Miami, but that couldn't happen as often. So I fly to Switzerland and I'm there for the week, but he has to work because Thanksgiving is a holiday in the US and not in Switzerland. So he's going to work and I'm going to be alone most of the time, but that's all we could do. So I got along really well with his mother. I actually still get along with his mother to this day. And his mother asked me,
I don't know if you caught that, but she said she flew herself to Zurich and he was too busy to be around her. But she still flew anyway, entertained herself. So when they ask you all this, I need to be entertained stuff, just refer back to this video.
With his mother to this day. And his mother asked me one day in particular, like, time, but that's all we could do. So I got along really well with his mother. I actually still get along with his mother to this day. And his mother asked me one day in particular, like, what are you doing for breakfast? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to go in the kitchen and get whatever. She was like, you know what? I have some extra pastries and stuff. I'm going to come over and I'll bring it and we'll have breakfast together. And she did that and we had breakfast together and it was great. So when breakfast was done, she was like, what are your plans for lunch? Now, mind you, I don't speak Swiss German and she doesn't speak English, but we're making it work. And I was like, I'm just going to go in the fridge for lunch and get whatever. She was like, listen, I'm going to go home now. Give me about an hour. I'll prepare lunch and then you can come over and you can have lunch with me. So I walked over to her house and I went and she had a wonderful meal prepared and I ate, lunch with her. And then I was like,
how much do you bet she wasn't pushing the issue of actually trying to be in the mother's presence to somehow end around this guy who she's making all this effort for, who still doesn't have time for her? Now she's in another country following this guy and hanging with his mom. That's crazy. That's dedication on a level you never hear about in these online spaces, right?
well, what are you doing for dinner? And she was like, oh, I don't know. I'm just going to make whatever. And I'm like, listen, no, he's going to be coming home from work and he's going to be hungry. I'm going to cook dinner. Why don't you come back over to his place and, we'll have this dinner together. And later that, I walked home from her house and I made food. And later that evening, she came over and we all ate dinner together, the 3 of us. And it was great. And then she left and went home. Cleaned up the kitchen after she left, and he and I were just lying in bed and we were just talking, shooting the breeze.
She's cooking and cleaning though. She got that cooking and cleaning down in Switzerland, in Zurich. American man, not so much. She probably not going to get that type of treatment.
As couples do. And I don't know how we got on this. We were just talking, shooting the breeze, as couples do. And I don't know how we got on the subject, but this man looks at me and he says, well, we're not really in a relationship. We're not actually in a relationship.
She went all the way to Zurich, hanging out with this dude's mom. And then he said, he hit her with the, we're not really in a relationship. I don't really like. He hit her with the casual stiff arm. That's crazy. But it gets worse.
Because, we're just not. And I'm like, how, wait a minute. I am taking time off work. I'm running a crazy schedule. My circadian rhythm or whatever you want to call it is way off. I don't know what time zone I'm in most of the time. I'm flying back and forth. I'm crossing the Atlantic Ocean like it's Biscayne Bay. What you mean? And he looks at me and he was like, well, we don't live together. This relationship isn't real because we just don't live together. Like, I don't come home from work at the end of the day and you're not there to greet me and we don't talk about each other's day. And I was like, okay, wow.
So the very thing she's hoping to address, which is the distance by traveling to him, is the one thing that he says is prohibiting them from being in a relationship, or at least according to her translation, because I understand there's some language barriers here, but the facts are the same. She's flying to Zurich to be with a man who has her as a casual option. And I'm pretty sure he's not paying for these flights. She's definitely paying. She's definitely paying for this. But you let somebody in her backyard in Miami somewhere, he gonna get a hard time, right? Right.
Let me tell you what happened today, okay? Your mother came over, brought me breakfast. We ate it together. Uh-oh. Your mother went home to her house.
Now she's going into the mother thing. She's guilt tripping him now. But listen to this.
She made me lunch. I walked over there and we ate it together. And then I invited your mother over for the dinner that we just ate tonight. And as I was walking back here to start dinner, your mother offered to walk with me. She offered to walk me back to your place so I could start dinner. And on the walk from her house to your house, we passed a graveyard. And she asked me to come into the graveyard with her. And I went into the graveyard with your mother. And there in the graveyard, she took me to the grave of your dearly departed father. And she said to me that she needed help refreshing the flowers, washing his headstone, and preparing, his gravesite, making it look presentable. And I washed your father's headstone with your mother. And I took out the old dried flowers and I replaced them with her, and we did this together. And then we parted ways. She went back to her house and then I came here.
Wow. Now the mother's putting her to work. She's like, well, if you're here, you're going to help out. You're going to help out on the situation with the gravestone. That's crazy. She flew all the way from Miami to Switzerland to clean up her alleged boyfriend, the guy she's dating's deceased father's headstone. And she did this willingly with the mother. I mean, I guess, I don't know if it's a cultural language barrier, but her mother was like, I'm going to do this right now. I want you to go do this with me. Why not? And this dude isn't even claiming her. He isn't even claiming her. Fellas, take note. This is what they're accepting. This is why they're so angry sometimes. When we see them online and they've been through something, they're angry online because they've done this already. They've been here already and we're disappointed with the outcome.
You are not going to tell me that we are not in a real relationship because I don't live in Switzerland. You want to know something? Because what I did with your mother today is not even girlfriend stuff. It's actually daughter-in-law stuff. But we're not in a real relationship.
I did not think I was her daughter-in-law, but me spending the entire day with her, just the two of us, was for us to bond. And that's only an effort I make in a relationship. So to me, the relationship was very real. You hear that? The operative words, to me. To me. Not to us. Because he's thinking, she's coming out here every week. This is kind of sweet. I don't even have to go to Miami to see her. I don't have to do this. But fellas, I just want you to know, do not accept anything less. The effort that she took is within every woman. Now, it's up to you whether to use your powers for good or evil. Obviously, this guy was not thinking about her best interest. But you see what this is. You see that this woman, who might have standards in the United States, is willing to bend over backwards in Switzerland Do not accept anything less. Do not accept anything less.
You know what? I am not coming back to Switzerland. This will be the last time. This is the last time. I don't need you to play in my face in Switzerland.
Setting boundaries.
Okay? I can do that in Miami. There's a ton of men in Miami who can play in my face. I don't need this. I don't need this. I am leaving tomorrow. I am going home. And if you ever want to see me again, you can bring yourself. You can bring yourself to Miami.
He's not.
And obviously that was November because
he's not.
You know, it's Thanksgiving. So anyway, I go home and he's kind of like, I don't know what's up. Like, I'm not hearing from you. I'm like, listen, I have nothing more to give. I need real relationships. I need commitment. I need all of the above. Like, if you don't have that to give me, you can just disappear. March was my birthday, so a few months later he came to Miami. He spent my birthday with me in Miami, or whatever the case may be, and you know, that was fine. And he came back to Miami one more time after that, several months later. So he came to Miami twice. But by the second time he came to Miami, I had met my husband. And I was like, listen,
And that's the other thing. She's going to have options, fellas. In this day and age, this modern woman is going to have options, and she's going to play them against each other. She probably thought it was adventurous to jump up and fly to Zurich and do all this and hang out with his mother, and you know, she thought she was doing the big thing. Then she's got somebody at home that as soon as I mean, I don't know what the time passage was between her saying she was never coming back and her being married. But best believe that person that she ended up marrying was already in the picture. And that's the sad thing about this. You know, they keep these options around, but they chase what they want. That guy was probably a backup guy. Don't be that guy either. The guy that's sitting in Miami, like waiting for you to come back. Oh, you going to Zurich on business? Meanwhile, you out there watching somebody's father's headstone. That much effort. Ridiculous.
Moving on with my life. I am engaged. He couldn't even believe it. He was very shocked, but I was like, no, I've genuinely moved on. Remember, we weren't in a real relationship. And he just expressed regret of like how he did things. You know what I mean? He expressed regret. And I know he really meant that. You know, he's a good dude. We're still in a good place to this day.
Husband better watch out about that good place they're in. I'm telling you. Once the relationship that she's in now is messed up, there's always that option to go back. Even if he's married. Watch that. We're still friendly.
He's married now and he has a child and they live happily. They're good. Like, everybody's good. There's no villain in this story. But all of that to say this. The kind of woman who has decided that marriage and commitment are a deal breaker for her, she's got to be brave. It is going to take a level of bravery and boldness for you to be able to walk away from someone that you like, someone that you may even love. It's going to take vision for you to see what's in front of you and understand that this doesn't fit the vision that I have for my life. So I have to give up what's in front of me with the hopes that the best is yet to come, with the hope that what I really want is still out there for me. What if I had said to myself, no, this is it. This is all I can ever get, you know? We've been dating now for like a year. I've been coming back and forth to Switzerland all these times. I'm getting stopped at the Swiss airport because they're like, girl, what do you do for a living? You here all the dang on time. Just know.
They had you on a track. They were tracking you. Like, why are you here again? This is an example of being versus telling. Being that girl means finding the courage to walk away rather than saying all these empty demands that never works.
Know that sometimes it's going to be difficult to walk away from something that doesn't serve the vision for your life. And you got to be brave and you got to be bold. And if marriage is a deal breaker for you, if that level of commitment is a deal breaker for you, when you see the signs, you got to act. Because honestly, had I kept going to Switzerland in the manner that I had been going, had I spent Christmas break in Switzerland, had I spent President's Day in Switzerland, had I spent, MLK weekend in Switzerland, he would not have understood how much commitment meant to me. And even though we were not meant to be, like I said, we're friendly. We're friendly to this day. You know, like no shade, all tea, no shade. But if I had not done that, I probably would still just be dating him in a dead end, flying back and forth, getting nowhere, not getting to the life that I wanted. I'm so glad that it took me a while, because I wasn't always that girl who could like stand on business like that. It took me a while, but I am so grateful. I am so grateful that I got better at walking away from what I knew wouldn't serve me. I'm so glad I found the courage to be bold and the courage to understand that what I wanted was out there, that I was worth it, and that it was going to be mine. And if I couldn't have the relationship that I wanted, the kind of relationship that I wanted, if I couldn't get married the way I wanted, it was well with my soul. I was okay with being single, because I think it's better to be in the right relationship that serves you than to just settle for the wrong one.
But yet and still, she still settled in all of this. She settled with the guy that was her second or third or fourth or fifth option. She married that man in America. But yeah, this is, what do you guys think? This is ridiculous. This story can be triggering on a bunch of levels, because, you know, you think back to other relationships when, you know, you were the one that was making effort and it was not being reciprocated. Whereas this man had literally set up his boundaries on what he was and wasn't going to do, and what relationship he was and was not in, and she was constantly pursuing. Fellas, be the man in Switzerland. Don't be the man in Florida. Because, I mean, like, you see the effort that she took. And, like, obviously she got to have her stuff together a little bit to be flying back and forth to Zurich. You know, flying back and forth to Switzerland. That is not an easy feat. She was doing it every weekend, and she was happy to do it until he told her she wasn't in a relationship, which was her tripping point. But before that, just think about it. You got a chick that won't warm up beans and franks for you. You got a chick that wouldn't spit on you if you was on fire. And that's who you settling for. And this exists in the world. It's an unfair deal, but you got to find your right one. You got to find your woman that's eager to be around you, to be with you. If not, keep looking until you do. Anyway, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. If you want to watch more, please watch one of these videos down below. Do me a favor, sign up for the newsletter. Link is in the description. This is Faucette Media.